Welcome to my yoga class. I'm Barbara Putnam. I've been teaching at the Torrington Y for several years, and this is going to be a class that is slow and mindful, because I think in these stressful times it's a nice way to de-stress. If you take your yoga very slowly and deliberately, it can bring you into a calmer state of mind. So let's start in a comfortable seated position and just spend a little time getting settled. So finding a nice comfortable place. See if you've got a good contact with the ground with your sits bones, if your legs are in a relaxed position that's easy to maintain. And then think about your posture, stacking your shoulders over your hips, stacking your head over your shoulders. So finding a posture that's comfortable but alert. And then just check in with how you're feeling. So noticing your physical self. Notice if you've got anything that you need to be careful of, like an injury or a place that's stiff or tired. And just be careful if you've got anything that needs care. And then just check in with what your energy is like, whether you're feeling really energetic and want to move a lot, or whether you're at the end of a cycle where you just need to relax a little bit. Just be aware of what your energy is like. And then notice if you're thinking, notice where your attention is going. Are you rushing ahead to after this class is over, or thinking about what's going on in the other room, or something that just happened? See if you can bring your attention just to your body, your breath, right here, right now. And just keep yourself as focused as you can on just what's happening in the moment. And the best way to stay in the moment is to just focus on your breath. So see if you can just follow the rhythm of your breath. Just let your attention rest on your breath. And you might try to notice if there's a difference in quality between the inhale and the exhale. See if you notice if the inhale or exhale is longer. And then see if you can notice that place between the inhale and exhale when you change from one to the other. So see if you can stay for just a slight pause between inhale and exhale and inhale. And just get a little rest in between. So these are all ways for keeping your attention on your breath, keeping yourself in the moment. And then let's deepen our breath. If your breath is a little deeper, a little slower, it'll help you feel a little more calm. So the next time you inhale, just take a little bit more than you usually do. And with your exhale, press a little bit more out than you usually do. And then see if staying in that little pause between the two feels good. Don't stay there any longer than feels good. Okay, so that kind of breath awareness you can use anytime when you feel a need to calm down. Just staying in the moment, paying attention to your breath, letting your breath get longer and deeper is going to be a good way to make it through any of those stressful times you have. So let's go into doing a little bit of movement. Let's warm up a bit. Let's just start at the top of our head. Think about a beam of light shooting out the top of your head and drawing a little circle on the ceiling. So just a very gentle circular movement with your head. And we're going to very slowly make these circles a little bit bigger as you go around. And see if you can notice what your neck is doing, what the muscles in your neck are doing as you do these circles. So just making that circle on the ceiling a little bit bigger, a little wider, going around. And then see where the limit of that movement is, where you don't stretch any further. And just enjoy being out there right at the edge of where your neck lets you move. And then after you do a nice big stretch in one direction, go around the other way. Okay. And then coming back to center and balancing your head back on top of your shoulders. Let's do some things with our shoulders. Let's just start by shrugging our shoulders up and then sweeping them back as far as they go, and then dropping them down and crouching them forward. And just let your arms do whatever they need to do. Let that shoulder movement happen. So just rolling your shoulders back, down, around, and forward. And then going the other way. Come down in the front and up in the back. And then let them settle again. And then we'll put our hands out on the sides. And we'll do a nice breath with our arm movement. So as you inhale, lift your hands up and see if you can let your palms meet over your head. If they miss, you'll probably be able to do it better the next time. And as you exhale, let your hands come back down to the mat. So let's do several cycles of this. Inhaling as we come up, filling up. When you get to the top, you're full. You could take that little pause. And then exhale as you let your hands come down. And when you're empty, your hands meet the mat. So let's do 4 more of those. Nice, slow, even breaths. Letting your breath be deep and deliberate. Noticing each part of your breath. See if you can notice what's happening with your arms too. So your arms might feel a little heavier when they're straight out. And then they lighten up a little bit when they're stacked up. So just enjoy several more of these breaths. So coordinating breath and movement is one of the basic skills of a yoga practice, so that you're allowing your whole self to be involved in this. Body, mind, and spirit. And then let's this one be our last. And when your hands are back on the mat, let's just take a pause and see if you can feel the energy in your arms, how that changed because you were doing those movements. So that little pause where you notice what's happening with your body is another valuable part of a yoga practice. Okay, let's do some side bends. Let's inhale as we come up. Exhale as we lean into one hand, and see how much you can let that outside of your body stretch. And then when it's time to inhale, come back up, switch sides. And when you're ready to exhale, come over the other way. And just see how long you can let that side body get. So several more of these. Inhaling as you come up. Exhaling as you lean over. Inhaling as you switch sides, stretch the other way. Exhale. And coming back the other way. And then the next time you bring your hand down, leave both hands down. Take a moment. Notice your side body. Okay. Then let's do some forward and back movements. Let's let your hands rest on your knees. Let your elbows swing out to the sides. And then with an inhale, bring your chest forward. Let your pelvis rock forward. Let your gaze come up and let your shoulder blades come together in the back. So you're doing a big stretch in your front body here. So the inhale is like this. And then the exhale, you bring your elbows forward, push your belly button back, let your gaze come down, spread your shoulder blades, and just open up your back body. So we've got an inhale where we're looking up and opening up in the front. And with the exhale, we're pushing back and opening up in the back body. So rocking forward and back with your breath. Inhaling here. And exhaling here. Okay. So let's do some simple twists. Let's take our hands up as we inhale. And then as we exhale, one hand forward, one hand back, and look at the side wall. And then with your inhale, you come back up, face forward. With the exhale, go the other way, sweeping open. So this gets you a twist in your body, and it also plays around with your shoulders, gets your shoulders warmed up. So, doing a couple more of these. And just notice where you feel it. In your waist, in your ribs, in your shoulders. All the way down into your hips, into your legs. Okay, and then next time you're at the center, stay there, and we'll take a little pause. Notice the energy. Okay. So let's just get on our hands and knees for a moment, and we'll do cat and cow stretches. So I'm going to turn sideways so you can see a little better what I do here. So getting your knees right under your hips and your hands right under your shoulders. And just imagine your back is a table and your arms, your legs and arms are the legs of the table. And see if you can have the same amount of weight on each corner of the table. Get nice and balanced, right centered in here. Okay. And then next time you inhale, let's lift your tailbone up, let your belly come down, let your shoulder blades come together, and your gaze comes up. So you're stretching your front body again. And then the next time you exhale, tuck your tail under, arch your back, spread your shoulder blades, let your gaze come down. And do several of these with your breath. Inhaling as you reach your front body open. Exhaling as you open up your back body. Okay. And then coming back to center. Take one leg, rest the toe on the mat, and shift a little bit. There we go. And then just push that heel back and see how much of a stretch you can get in your hamstring. And if it feels good to rock back and forth, go ahead and look for a nice stretch in the back of your leg. And then just be a tripod. Lift that leg up and hold it as flat and parallel to the floor as you can. And let your gaze just be a little bit in front of your hands. And the next time you inhale, lift your heel, lift your head, and open up your front body here. And then when you exhale, bend your knee and reach your knee toward your nose as you curl in. So we've got an inhale where we're stretched out and lifting that leg, and an exhale where we're curling in, bending that leg. So this is a nice warming up movement. And if you can keep your balance while lifting one hand up, you can do this with a hand, elbow to knee. So opening up, reaching, and then coming in, elbow to knee. And one more, and back to center. And then just settle for a moment, notice what happened. And then we'll do the other side. So reaching the other foot back, let the toe rest on the mat, push back a little bit, see how much you can stretch out the back of that leg. There you go. And then lift that leg up and push the heel back. Just hold it for a moment. Feel the heat build up there. And then see about doing a reach up as you look up, and then a curl in, knee to nose. And you can lift the opposite hand if you can keep your balance. And if you can't, just keep a tripod, keep the stable one. So whatever works for you. Giving yourself a chance to open up, curl in, build up a little heat. Okay, and then come back to center. And notice that. Okay. So now I'm going to do the Sun Salutation Series with you. And I'm going to do it very slowly and change from one to the next very deliberately, so you can get each move and become more familiar with the Sun Salutation. So here's a nice way to stand up. I've just rolled it back onto my toes, and see if you can balance on your feet, and then push up into Tadasana, the mountain pose. Okay, so the Sun Salutation starts at the front of your mat, and the first pose is Tadasana, the mountain pose. So this one is a chance to really understand your posture and to have a sense of how you balance up and down. Okay, so let's just notice your feet to start with. Notice your arches, and then the front of your feet is a wide area, and your heel is a narrow area. It's like a triangle. So just get familiar with how that feels. And then go up to your knees and think about lifting your kneecaps, and that wakes up all the muscles in your legs. And then balance your shoulders over your hips. Let your arms be relaxed. And then think about balancing your ears over your shoulders. Lots of us let our heads come forward. See if you can really bring your head right over your shoulders. And maybe that'll feel a little unfamiliar if you're not used to standing this way. But then just stand here for a moment and see if you can find that sort of perfect line, up and down line between, right between your feet, all the way to the top of your head, right there. So that is the first part of the Sun Salutation. So the next one is inhaling as we open our arms and arch back a little bit so you can feel the front body opening. And then as you exhale, just come back down. So I'll do it sideways so you can see that. So inhaling, you're letting your front body open and your back is arching. And then as you exhale, you come down. So I'm going to switch over to this because I think it's better to see me this way. Okay. So let's do this twice more. Opening up, arching as you inhale, exhaling as you come back to Tadasana. And then another. Inhale. And back. Okay. So that's the first part. Then the next part is coming into a forward bend. So just hinging at the hips. and letting yourself come down towards the floor. And just get familiar with this feeling for a moment. See if you can sort of push into your feet, lift your tail, let your legs be nice and long and firm, holding your weight, and then let your upper body relax a little bit. See how much you can just soften and let your head dangle and really get into a forward bend here. Okay. So then a half forward bend is where you draw your head toward the side or front of the room, front of your mat, and inhale here, and then exhale as you come back down again. So let's do a couple of those. Just inhaling as you come up, and see how much you can really stretch your body towards the long end of the mat. And then as you exhale, softening a little bit in the upper body and relaxing, turning your head down. So a couple of more breaths where you just explore these two poses. Okay, so the next part of the sun salutation is a lunge. So the next time we inhale, we'll bring our head up into that half forward bend, shift our weight over into one foot, and bring the other foot back into a lunge. So we're reaching our foot back as we step back. So that's a simple movement. Let's bring inhaling here and exhaling as we come back. Inhale here. Let's step back with the other one. Inhale here. One more step back. Okay. So then the next piece, as we inhale, we'll bend the front knee, drop the back knee, and look up. And then with the exhale, let's go back into that straight leg pose. So inhale coming in like this. Exhale coming back. And do that one more time. Okay. So the next pose is to bring the front foot back with the other foot. Coming back into a plank, or if that doesn't fit your body, you can put your knees down and have a plank from knee to shoulder, straight line. So we come into plank. So let's try this part, just stepping back so that you're in the lunge, and then you can bring that foot back into plank like this, or you can be in a lunge and come into a full plank. So just find which one works for you. Okay. Then the next move is to bring your body down towards the mat. So we'll do that from the knees, and let's just bending your elbows, keeping them close to your body. Let your shoulders come down. You can leave your butt up and let your chest come down. This is called Inchworm. And then you can slide forward onto your belly. Okay, so that's the way to get all the way down. And then we have a little back bend here. So the back bends you can lift up just looking at straight ahead without really pushing with your hands at all, just using the shoulder muscles to get you up. And exhale, let's come down. Or you can go into a Cobra, where you push with your hands and lift your upper body up, and just explore how far up works for your body. So this is a back bend. You keep your hips connected to the ground and let your upper body arch up. And this is really fun to do with your breath. So whichever back bend works for you, do an inhale as you come up into that back bend, and an exhale as you let yourself down. And one more back bend, inhaling as you come up, exhaling as you come down. Okay, so the next thing we do is the downward facing dog. So I like to come into down dog from the back bend. So you've come up part way, you tuck your toes, keep pushing into your hands, lift your hips, and here is the downward facing dog. So this is where you have hands and feet on the floor and your tail is right up in the air, and you try to have as straight a leg as you can, straight legs. You try to bring your head down between your arms, and then to stabilize your shoulders, sometimes it helps to turn the inside of your elbows towards each other. That gives you a firmer feeling in your shoulders. So this is downward facing dog. Sometimes this is used as a resting pose between other poses, but it's an effort, so it's not really a resting pose. Okay, so let's just take another breath here. And then the next thing we're going to do is come back into a lunge. So let's inhale as we bring one foot up, bend the knee. Exhale as we come forward into that lunge. Okay. And then let's go back to down dog. And inhale as you bring the other foot up. Exhale as you lunge forward the other way. Okay. And then let's go into a half forward bend. Inhale as you come straight legs and body parallel to the floor. Exhale as you let yourself all the way down. And then the final transition to standing again, we're going to do with chair. So we're going to bend our knees. Inhale here. Keep inhaling. Keep your knees bent and come up to chair pose, bent knees, straight body. And then on your exhale, stand up and you're in mountain pose again. Okay, so I just took that whole thing apart and I just spent 12 minutes on one pose. So I want to do this with you several times. So I'll coach you through it, and I'll keep doing it this way. I'm going to go the other way. Okay, so we'll start here, mountain pose. Just get yourself settled. Get your feet in a nice, easy distance apart, so they're right under your hips. Getting your shoulders over your hips, your head up, your gaze straight ahead. Okay, so let's inhale. Come into a nice back bend. Exhale, fold into a forward bend. Inhale, come halfway up and step back into a lunge. And arch up, fill up here. Exhale, straight legs. Just let yourself come down over that front leg. Then inhale again, and this time come back into plank. As you exhale, come all the way down. And then with your inhale, come up to the back bend of your choice. Tuck your toes. Exhale, go into downward dog. Okay, we're going to step forward again into a lunge, inhaling. Exhale, let's straighten our legs. Inhale, step forward into half forward bend. Exhale, come down. Inhale as you bend your knees, lift up into chair. Exhale as you stand all the way up. Okay, so this time we're going to be more deliberate about which leg goes back when we go into our lunges. So we're going to move the left leg when we change position on this cycle. So let's inhale as we come up. Exhale as we fold forward. Inhale halfway up. Exhale down. Shift your weight to your right foot. Inhale, step back with your left. Exhale, straight legs. Inhale, come down into that lunge. Exhale, go into a plank. And come all the way down. Inhale as you go into a back bend. Tuck your toes. Exhale as you go into down dog. We're going to move the left foot forward this time. Inhale, lift that foot up and swing it forward. Exhale here. Inhale, half forward bend. Exhale, full forward bend. Inhale, chair. Exhale, stand. And just take a moment, feel that energy. Okay. And then we'll do a last one. We'll move the right leg this time. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, down. Inhale, weight on your left leg, reach back with your right leg. Exhale, straight legs. Inhale into a lunge. And exhale as you come back into plank and lower yourself down. Inhale, come up into a cobra or any other back bend. Tuck your toes. Exhale into down dog. Moving your right foot forward. Inhale into a lunge. Exhale, straight legs. Inhale, half forward bend. Exhale all the way down. Inhale, bend your knees. Come into chair. And exhale, back to Tadasana. So that is a lovely series that is a very common yoga vinyasa series of postures. It's easy to do as a morning warm-up. So you might just try doing that when you wake up in the morning. And if you don't remember what order to do it in, just do the things that you remember, and it'll come together eventually. And just enjoy stretching your body in all those different ways. They say that that particular series stretches every muscle major group in your body. So it's a very useful one to have in your kit, your toolkit for yoga. So let's do some other things. This was a very sort of straight ahead kind of thing. Let's do something with wide legs. So let's just walk our feet out as far as they go comfortably. And let your feet, your toes point the same way your knees bend. And we'll just stand here for a moment, just get upright. And then we're going to go into a forward fold. So see if you can fold right from your hip sockets here and keep the rest of your body straight. So just fold forward and see if you can hold your body just parallel to the floor here. And then let yourself all the way down. And then let your hands be kind of under your shoulders here. And then we're going to go back and forth. So take an inhale when you're in the middle. As you exhale, bend over to one side. Inhale to the middle. And exhale to the other side. And back and forth like this. So just warming up your hips in this nice wide leg pose. Getting a nice hip opening. Okay. And then coming back to center. This is a nice way to get into a twist. Let's put one hand just right under your face and then lift up the other hand and just reach up as tall as it goes. Just point right at the ceiling. And then see if you can feel your shoulders stacked on top of each other, your ears stacked on top of each other. And so you've got this vertical line where your shoulders are. And then your feet are the horizontal line going wide. And then think of your spine as another horizontal line going the other way. So think of the length of your spine and the stacked shoulders, the wide feet. So you've got 3 different directions here. So then connect back in with your breath And as you inhale, think of that upper hand going way up. And as you exhale, connect back in with your feet and that hand that's on the floor. The next breath, think of the length of your spine. Think of drawing your head towards the front, tail to the back. And exhale back into the ground. And then one more inhale. And then relax back down into that nice forward bend. And just let things get soft. Just hang here for a moment. And then we'll do the other side. So you'll plant your hand under your face from the other side and lift up and look at the side wall. And then think about stacking your shoulders, stacking your ears, letting everything be sideways in your upper body. And then feel your feet, feel the length of your spine. So take a breath in as you reach that upper hand up. Exhale as you notice your feet and your hand. Then inhale as you reach your head away from your tail. Long spine. And then exhale, soften back into the ground. And one more inhale, reaching, lengthening. And then exhale, let yourself down again. And then let this be a nice, soft forward bend. Take your hands and put them on your elbows. Let the weight of your upper body help draw you down towards the floor. And if it feels good to rock a little from side to side, you can do that. If it feels good to bend your knees, you can reach them side to side. And let this be a resting pose here. And then we're going to come up into another wide leg pose. Think of your knees going wide apart. You might want to rearrange your feet to get a bend in your knees while you keep your hips nice and open. So this is called the goddess pose. You get everything wide open. So you've got your hands in cactus pose. Everything's open. So just think of everything in the front of your body opening up as you stand here. That's the goddess. And then the next time you inhale, we'll go into star. So this is straight legs, straight arms. Everything's out. And then as you exhale, come back down. So we'll inhale as we open up. Exhale as you come back into goddess. One more big open thing. And then let's just bring our hands down horizontal. So just look at each hand. See if you've got them lined up. Good. And then let's rearrange our feet so we can do the warrior pose. So we're going to take one foot and turn it direct it towards the front of the mat. Bend that knee, that foot in the front. Keep a straight leg in the back and let that other toe turn towards the front at a comfortable angle, whatever works for your body. And then think about your hips and shoulders still being lined up along the long end of the mat. So this is the warrior 2. So try just turning your head and looking at each hand and see if you can do that without changing your shoulders. So you're not going to turn your shoulders doing this, just your head. So it's a twist in your neck, only in your neck. Okay. Okay. So let's take a side bend from here. Let's take that front arm and rest the elbow on the bent knee. And then take the back arm, lift it up, turn the palm towards the front of the mat, the long end of the mat, and just reach over your head as far as you go. So everybody's shoulders are a little bit different. There's a lot of flexibility you can develop if you keep working at it. But if your shoulders don't go any further, don't worry about it. Just find where it goes for you. And then just find the reach that feels interesting. I feel this all the way down to here. So that's kind of fun. So just getting a big side bend here. Okay. So then as you inhale, just think of the tip of that upper finger reaching away from your body. And as you exhale, just feel the weight of your upper body leaning on that knee, settling down. So a little bit of a stretch with your inhale, and then a little softening with your exhale. And then your next inhale, let's come back up into Warrior Two. Okay. And then there's another side bend you can do from here, where you drop the back hand, lift the front hand, and that points straight up at the ceiling. And then just see how far down that leg you can let that back hand come. So this will get you a stretch here on this side of your body. So once you find a pose that you can maintain, that you can hold, then go back to your breath and see how steady and even you can keep your breath. And if you find you've gotten into a position where you're kind of panting because it's hard, don't do that. Come back a little bit, make it a little easier so that you can have your breath involved in the pose too. It's not just how far you can go, but how balanced you can feel when you're there. Okay. And then let's come back to Warrior Two. And just settle in here for a moment. And then one more pose from here. Let's straighten the front leg, and we're going to do the triangle pose. So this one, we're going to drop the front hand and push that back hip back and reach up with the back hand. And then see how horizontal you can let your back be in this pose. And this hip is going to be tempted to come down like this. See if you can keep it up. So we've still got this plane in our bodies. Okay. And then just see if you can hold this one. And if it gets too hard, you can put your hand on your leg and support yourself here so that you still have this nice open chest, open feeling. So an inhale, just think of the length of your spine. Exhale, let yourself settle into the floor. So just using your breath to be present in this pose. And then next inhale, let's bend that front knee. Come back into Warrior. And then let's just relax our arms. Stand in a symmetrical pose. Let's come back into an easy, wide leg pose. And just notice what's happened to your body. Notice where you worked. You can feel this sort of, it's like there's energy shooting back into your muscles from where you were stretching them. Okay. And then a nice counter pose for this is just to do, swing your arms, easy back and forth. There you go. Okay, so we're going to do that whole series on the other side. So let's come back. We've got our wide legs. We're going to turn our feet the other way. Bend the knee that's at the other front. Arms out. And checking in with each hand, seeing that your arms are parallel to the floor. And let's just hold this pose for a couple of breaths. And just see if you can do little micro movements while you're in this pose that make it more your own, make it fit your body. So having that nice wideness in your hips, nice openness in your chest. See if you can find your body's way of doing that nice openness. Okay. And then we'll do the forward bend the front elbow, lift the back hand, turn the palm towards the front of the mat, and then just see how far that reaches for you. And just look for a nice side stretch. And then once you've gotten to that limit to how far your body lets you go, just stay there and let your breath sort of inhabit this pose. So think of the stretching that hand just a little bit more as you inhale, connecting back into the ground as you exhale, and just using your breath to be in this pose. Okay. And then next time we inhale, we'll come back up into Warrior Two. Okay. And then we'll go back into the side warrior. So back hand on your leg, upper hand straight up, and then just looking for a nice stretch in here. So reaching that hand up and feeling the side bend. Inhaling, reaching up. Exhaling, feeling the floor. And the next inhale, let's come back to Warrior Two. And then we'll go into triangle. So this is the straight leg in the front. Drop the front hand, lift the back hand. Keep that back hip up and back. And see about lowering your shoulders down so that you have a nice vertical line between the bottom hand and the up hand. So stack your shoulders, stack your ears, everything sideways in your upper body. Okay, and use your hand to hold yourself if you need to. And let your back get nice and long. Okay. And then coming back up and relaxing into a nice, easy pose. Okay. Let's just stand for a moment and just notice what you've done, your remarkable accomplishments. Okay. And then we're going to come down onto the mat and do some face down poses. So let's just take a forward bend. And inhale as we come up into half bend. Step back into plank. And next time you exhale, lower yourself down. Okay. And make a pillow with your hands. Put one cheek on your hands and just rest for a moment. And notice what it feels like after the effort of doing the standing pose and the big stretches. There's a wonderful softness that happens when you relax. And then pick up your head, turn to the other direction, and let yourself rest on the other side. Notice if there's a difference between one side and the other. Okay. And then we're going to do some back bends from here. Let's bring our hands back next to our hips. And just think about that back bend we did in the sun salutation, where we just lifted our shoulders without using our hands. So we're going to do that here. Leave your feet on the floor. Bring your gaze up to look at the far wall. Lift your shoulders and lift your hands if they let you do that. And just look for a back bend that just comes from your back, the muscles in your back. So inhale here and exhale as you come down. And another inhale, bringing your back and shoulders up. And exhale, come down. And then just let your head hover, and we'll play around with our feet. So see about bringing your feet off the floor. See if you can get your knees off the floor. And just look for how much you can lift your legs. Just letting your gaze be straight down at the mat. And then just hold this as long as you can manage it comfortably. And then when you're ready, you can exhale as you come down. So let's do a couple more of those. Lifting up as we inhale. And exhaling as we come down. And one more. And then just let yourself melt into the mat for a moment. Get that little bit of rest in between. And then we'll be ready to do the full locust. So that's lifting shoulders and legs, lifting everything up at once with an inhale. And let the exhale let you come down. And we'll repeat that twice. Coming up with the inhale. Down with the exhale. And then after the next one, we're coming up with the inhale. Down with the exhale. Let's try holding it for several breaths. So coming up and just finding the position that you can hold for a while. So it might not be as far as you went when you were just coming up with one breath. So just look for where you can hold this. And be gentle with yourself. Be soft. And then let yourself down. Okay. Turn a cheek. Let yourself rest. Okay. Here's another wonderful resting pose that's a little bit of a counter pose to that locust. Put your hands under your shoulders and lift your hips, bend your knees, bring your hips back to your heels, and this is the child's pose. And just let this stretch out your back the other way. So you can rest like the top of your forehead on the mat, and that way you don't squinch your nose. And just let everything soften here. Okay. So we've gotten to the place where we need to cool down and take a period of relaxation. So let's move over onto our backs and just place your feet flat on the floor, knees up, and this is fun to just see how slowly you can roll down. When I first started doing this, there were places that I just fell through because I wasn't strong enough to hold myself up the whole way. So it's fun to see where you've got strength and where you don't. Just get to know your body. So just rolling down. See if you can feel each rib as you come down. And then getting all the way down, relaxing onto your back. Okay. And then a nice cooling down thing to do is to walk your feet back to your hips. Place your palms flat next to your hips. Settle your shoulders into the ground. And you're going to lift your hips and put your weight on just your feet and your shoulders. This is called the bridge. So the next time you inhale, just lift your hips up and see if you can roll one vertebra at a time up until you've got your weight on your shoulders. And then as you exhale, see if you can feel each rib, each vertebra coming down and letting your hips land last. So a couple more of those. It's a nice little massage for your spine, coming up and down with your breath. Inhaling up and exhaling down. And then lift your feet, bring your knees up to your chest, and just give yourself a hug here. And rock a little bit from side to side. And then separate your knees, reach through, hold your toes, lift your feet, and see if you can feel the lumbar spine between your pelvis and your ribs, that part of your spine. See if you can press that into your mat. That usually curves away, but if you lift your feet just the right way, you can get nice pressure on that part of your back. So roll from side to side, that gives you a little massage there. And then for the sacrum, the very base of your spine, your pelvis, hold your knees, rock them away from your shoulders, pull them in towards your chest, and you can feel the edge of your pelvic bone right there, the iliac crest, and you can go along it too. You can go side to side, and that feels lovely. And then try a circle, and go the other way. And then just hold yourself into a little ball. And then we'll find our final pose will be a reclining twist. So we're going to put our arms out in a T and just keep your feet and ankles and knees as close together as you can. And we're going to rock that whole lower body over to one side. So just roll up onto one hip, let those legs come over, and let them go as far as they go. And the opposite shoulder is going to want to come up. So turn your gaze towards that shoulder that's coming up, away from your bent knees. And then just staying here, see how much you can let go.
So you've been making an effort all the way through this class. This is about ease. This is about letting go. So just letting the weight of your legs pull them down towards the mat on one side. Let the weight of your shoulder pull it down towards the other side. And just let yourself soften and relax. And then just notice where you feel this. A little bit of a stretch in your waist and your hips. Connect back in with your breath. And then we'll do one on the other side. So inhaling, bringing your feet up. And put your feet down. Lift your hips, pull them towards your heels. That straightens out your back a little. And then we'll lift our knees again and roll the other way. So let your legs come down on one side. Turn your gaze, go the other way. And then feel how you feel this on the other side. So getting a nice stretch. And just letting gravity do the work. You don't have to do anything. This is just an exercise in letting go. Letting it happen. And then your final asana, your final pose, is the corpse pose, which is just completely relaxing. So getting yourself back so your spine is straight. Let your legs go straight. And let your feet roll outwards. Put your arms in a comfortable place away from your body, not too stretched out, not too tight in, right in between. And just find a nice, soft, easy pose on your back. And if you do have a little soreness in your low back, a nice alternate pose for this is to bend your knees and let them just rest against each other so that you can relax your legs in that position. And that'll take a little pressure off your low back. So whatever pose feels right for you, take that pose. And we'll give ourselves several minutes to just relax and be soft in this pose. And so just pay attention to your feet, the arches of your feet. Let them soften and relax. Bring your attention up to your legs, your knees. Let them be heavy and soft. Bring your attention to your hips and your belly. Feel the weight of your pelvis settling on the floor. Let them melt into the floor. And notice your breath, your diaphragm moving, the expansion of your chest. Bring your attention up to your shoulders. And let your attention go down the length of your arms, upper arms, elbows, forearms. Feel your hands, the palms of your hands, your fingers. Notice your whole arm. And then bring your attention back up to your shoulders and your neck. Feel the weight of your head settled on the floor. Soften your face and muscles around your eyes. And just let everything be soft. And you can stay in this position as long as you like. And when you're ready to come back, to start moving again, roll over to one side and curl up there for a breath or two. And then coming back up to a comfortable seated position. Take a little moment to notice how you feel. Notice your physical self, your energy body. Notice your thoughts. And then we'll conclude our practice with one breath that we'll take together. Let's open up our arms as we inhale. Let our palms come together over our heads. Exhale them down to our hearts. Thank you for sharing your practice. Namaste.